Hi, I am Risa Warner. Welcome to my YouTube channel. In this channel, we will talk about cleft because my daughter, she was born with cleft lip and cleft palate. So I decided to open this channel to help families with cleft so that they can reach out to me because I can understand the struggle because I deal with it too. Cleft babies. And with me, with my personal experience, when my child was diagnosed with cleft, I was scared. I was so nervous. I am so worried. And I am overwhelmed. And I'm blaming myself. Did I did something wrong? What did I do wrong? Is there something that I can prevent it? Those are the things that I personally struggled with. But this video would help us, and I'll share all the things that I experienced, that what I experienced during those times. So back to my story. When my daughter was diagnosed with cleft, it was 3 months ultrasound here in America, and the doctor says, hey, sounds like your child had a craniofacial birth defect. And I was so scared right away because growing up, I experienced bullying since when I was in elementary, high school, and even when I'm in college. So therefore, my self-esteem is really low, and I'm so conscious about my look because of the bullying that I experienced. I was so nervous and so scared and so worried about it. But then it's very important that you have the support system, family, friends that support you and understand what you're going through. So with that, I called my mother-in-law and said, hey, Mom, I'm scared, I'm nervous, I'm overwhelmed. My baby had a cleft. And then she told me, don't worry. We're going to be here for you. Your husband had it. It's not our first rodeo. We're here to support you. That message that she told me changed my trajectory about my scared and being worried and anxious. So with that, this channel is born because I wanted to help other people, other mom that struggles with this kind of particular situation, particular issue. So, what are the challenges when your child had a cleft? Number one, the physical aura, there's a defect, and it's really hard for baby or for parents to kind of soak it in and process everything, especially if you didn't know. But on us, we have the luxury of understanding it sooner because it's a little bit more high-tech here in America than in, I don't know if the ultrasound there in Philippines is more high-tech now. I don't know if they can detect birth defect now. I just don't know. But 5 years ago, when I was pregnant with my child, she's 5 years old now, thriving and happy. It was detected by the 3 months ultrasound that my baby had cleft. So, so with that, let's move on to feeding. Why do babies with cleft have problems with feeding? Yes, they have problem with feeding, especially in the lip line here. They don't have a proper suction, and when their palate is open, it's hard for the milk to go in, and it's just too complicated because their mouth there is not fully deformed. And I am not an expert about feeding. I am not an expert about I am not a speech therapy, or I am not a feeding therapy, but this is my experience during the time when I was taking care of my daughter. Now, it's very important for the society to understand and take care of our neighbors if they have cleft baby with lots of understanding, because parents already overwhelmed, parents are already exhausted with all the things that gone through, not to mention the surgery that they have to deal with. So we're gonna talk about the feeding. Okay. There are, according to Seattle Children's Hospital research, that there are four. My paper dropped off. There are four different types of. There are four different types of bottle for feeding babies with Cleft. Number one is Cleft Lip Palate Nurser by Med Johnson. Number two is Special Needs Feather by Medela. Number three is Pigeon Feather One-Way Bulb. And number four is Dr. Brown Specialty Feeding System One-Way Bulb. So the Cleft Lip Palate Nurser by Mid Johnson, I didn't experience that. And I will pop up the picture of it. And the Special Needs Feather by Medela, I think I didn't experience using that either. But you're in luck because I have the two bottles here in person to show you, because I experienced using it myself when my child was in the NICU. You know, it's like when I was going back to my pregnancy, I dealt with lots of complications. Not to mention, I was dealing with lots of morning sickness and can't eat because I get sick. I would get sick the moment I start having food. I would start getting sick around 6 o'clock. I will be done puking until 10 p.m. and I would tell my husband, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to be pregnant anymore. And I would sob and cry like, this is overwhelming. But then the struggle that I went through during my pregnancy didn't end there. So we already know that our child had a cleft lip. Cleft palate. Oh yeah, cleft lip. But we didn't know if she had a cleft palate. But then 7 months later of my pregnancy, I had a placental abruption. And I was waking up my husband at 6 o'clock. I say, honey, my water broke. And he said, it's too early for my water to be broken that way. It's 7 months. So when we turned on the light, it was blood gushing all over our bed. And he said, honey, this is emergency. We have to go to the hospital. It's premature. And she had a cleft lip and cleft palate. She was life-flighted to Sacred Heart Hospital in the NICU, because I gave birth in the Spokane in the Holy Family, and they don't have specification for that for preemie babies. So she was in the NICU, and the blessing with that, we have a lot of help from the nurses and the doctor that take care of my child. I am not necessarily alone dealing with that because she is on feeding tube and she got lots of doodads with her. I'll pop up the picture of hers. She had a lot of going on, and we're already, you can imagine the feeling of being new mom and traumatic birth and cleft lip and palate. So it's, the sky is the limit for the stress that I dealt with. So I've been wanting to help other parents to deal with cleft, but that time wasn't the right time because I just can't breathe and I am overwhelmed. So going back to the bottle, I'm sorry, I get sidetracked for my story. Going back to the bottle, so I have a parts here. I'll show you. These are the parts for Dr. Brown bottle. I dismantle it so that I can show you the parts accurately. This is the nipple. This nipple, if you can see, there's number 4, because in every number it's specified for a different age group. And this is the one-way bulb. So that's the Dr. Brown specialty bottle. Now I'll show you the pigeon bottle. Here's the pigeon bottle. It's more simple than the other one, and these are the parts that goes with it, and then I'll assemble it so that you can see it too. Okay, then let's assemble it. All right, so I show you the parts of the bottle. I know it's there's something going on here, but all right. So this is the Dr. Brown bottle. This tube goes here. It's important for you to put it in the right direction because we need it. Of course, I'm not feeding my child. This is just for demonstration, because if I feed my child, you have to wash your hands, you have to make sure everything is sanitized, you know, all of that. But I'm not feeding my child right now because she's 5 years old. She's way past about this. We already graduate by this thing. And I sent my Dr. Brown bottle to Philippines because I knew that some people in the Philippines could benefit out of it, because there's not much resource there, especially in the place where I grew up with, in Leyte, Leyte, Philippines. Hi to Taga Leyte, Leyte. And see, once you assemble, make sure it pop right in. Make sure it's pop right in, because it's important. Then you have to put this one right that, snag it tight, and there you go. There you have it. We assembled the Dr. Brown specialty bottle. So this one is designed that when the baby bites the nipple, the milk stays in the nipple and won't go back. And every time the baby bites, the one-way bulb do its thing to kind of keep putting milk in the nipple. And after that, let me talk about before I get sidetracked again. Sorry, mommy brain. Mommy knows about that. Alright, now we have to put the pigeon bottle. We have to assemble it. If you see that, the pigeon bottle it's simpler, but there's a nut. I don't know if you can see the nuts right there. And there's the flat right there. And don't forget to put the bulb. It's very important to put the bulb. So, just like that, you assemble the nipple. And I know, keep looking at the description. It's been quite some times, but I just want to read the description so I don't screw it up. So still, this is the information that I saw from the Seattle Children's Hospital Research Foundation. It's not my own info. I used their info about it and shared it. Alright, so let's talk about the pigeon bottle. So the pigeon bottle, you see the plastic right here. When baby begins to suck, milk flows slowly, and your baby controls the flow. I'm sorry if I'm not that efficient, because it's been a while that I haven't used this. And make sure that the small notch, see the small notch here that goes under your baby's nose, like there's a notch there. So when you put it to the baby's mouth, that notch, just make sure for you to align it next to your baby's nose, so that's your like landmark for the nipple to work properly. And if you buy this if you buy this, I'm sure it would come out as well with manuals. And with this one, I did not use it a lot. My daughter, she was, like I mentioned, she was in the NICU, and after, I think that must be 11 weeks, I can't remember, sorry. She's been in the NICU for 11 weeks, and then we're told that she's ready to go home, that she's stable, she's all good. But then she's in the feeding tube. So the doctor says, are you confident to go home with your child with the feeding tube? But the feeding tube is more complicated, because you have to put the feeding tube in her mouth. And I told my OT, Lisa, I don't wanna. She's the best OT, by the way. And she's an amazing OT for me when I was there as well in the Sacred Heart Hospital. I said, I am not confident to go home with feeding tube on my child. And so in the NICU, my experience that they're gonna do a dry run test on you and your child. So we were, after 11 weeks that we're in the NICU, we were sent to a special room that you stay there overnight. It's just a overnight that you don't have a, it's just designed for you that your husband and you figure out how to feed your child without the help of the nurses. Because that's the thing, that if you guys can pass that test, then you are good to go to take your baby home. So with that, we experienced that. We were admission to go to that special room. Excuse me. I'm so excited. I'm so happy about it. And then Lisa would just keep saying, "You can do it, Riza. You're so good at it. You're so on top of everything. You can do it." I'm like, "Oh, I'm not sure. I'm so confident that you're here, and now you're not, because you're my comfort zone." But sometimes we need to come out of our comfort zone to grow. So with that being said, Merve and John and I were in the room, and we experienced all kinds of battle. And my daughter doesn't like this battle, doesn't like this special battle, so she settled down with this one, pigeon bottle. So she was fed 24 hours. I'm not sure. I think that must be 24 hours or overnight with pigeon, because she needs to eat with this one with the bottle for, depends on their testing on us if we can do it, or if we're capable to go home, that our baby won't starve to death. That's basically the concept. Because if your baby starved to death, it's not good. It's not good at all. So our daughter drank with the pigeon bottle. She just on top of everything. She is cooperative. I think she probably understand that my parents wants to go home, and they've been very patient, and I just want to go home too, kind of like that. So she fed with this pigeon bottle. With that, we went to the board, and our OT was there, and there's the doctor and the nurses, and said, "Okay, it seems like the Warner family are ready to go home." And then my OT depended on me, like, "Risa is doing a great job with this." I'm like, that was really amazing that someone stand up for us, so that we're kind of like on a trial for us to be released in the NICU. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing, actually, because they're just gonna look at it if you are eligible to go home, because they don't want to send the baby and then the baby will just starve to death. It's not good. So when we take our baby home, she stopped drinking on the pigeon bottle. She would start crying, she would start fuzzy and cranky, she would stop milking on it, and her eyes would go big. I'm like, what is wrong? I just don't know what to do. I am overwhelmed when we take her home. And then we contacted our nurse, and she advised us try this. So we tried this one, the Doctor's Brown bottle. And in the Doctor's Brown bottle, they have the nipples. You need to also pay attention to the nipples, because the nipples as well had a specific instruction. If your baby is preemie, you have to look for the nipples that says N. That's for, for preemie, the nipple would be P for preemie, and N for newborn. And I think for 1 month to 3 months, maybe number 1. I can't remember the whole thing, but the nipples is very important, because that's like control the flow. Because if you're giving your baby a heavy flow and your baby is too young, it's gonna stress the baby. So with us, when I see that Doctor's Brown bottle that's all dismantled, I'm like, oh, that's overwhelming. But it's okay. It takes time. You'll get used to it. You're gonna be pro at it. So with that, we use the Dr. Brown, because Dr. Brown works really well in us. And also, based on my experience, when I am stressed, feeding my child feed to my stress, and she doesn't want to drink. So when you feed your baby, it is important for you to calm down and relax and trust your gut, because being a cleft lip and cleft palate parents, it's not easy, because it's a lot of things to go through. when we come out from the NICU that time. We have 3 to 4 appointments every week, and it's overwhelming. But mind you, just please, please, please give yourself grace. You are doing a great job being a cleft mama, being a mom or parents with cleft babies. It's not an easy job because you're gonna deal with the surgery of your child and then social life of your child, and then because if your baby had a cleft lip and cleft palate, there's a separate surgery for the lip and there's a separate surgery for the palate because it depends on their age and their weight. And also, I know there's gonna be a lot of noise chirping in your ears, but this is the only thing I can tell you. Trust your gut and please surround yourself with good people that understand you. So I hope my channel will be a good place for you to start searching with. I know I am not good at saying things, but I am brand new to this YouTube thing, and I'm brand new seeing myself in the camera. It's kind of like I'm just a little bit not used to it because I've been hiding myself for so long in the corner because I just did not want to be in public. But here I am now being brave, and I just really want to help parents with cleft baby because I experienced it myself and I know what it's like. And if you want this, and then I will be, depends upon my time because I am a busy mom as well. I will work on making this video in Tagalog and Bisaya so that it's easier for my kapwa Pilipino to understand, especially for those people that speak Bisaya and Tagalog, because I want this to be more accessible for everyone, especially my kapwa Pilipino. And oh, see, I get sidetracked again. So with this, with the doctor's brown nipple, the doctor's brown bottle, so when the baby bites the nipple, it would just automatically come out, the milk come out to the nipple, and it will keep supplying milk to this nipple, and with the bulb, it will do its thing. That's how the mechanics are doing, and it's important to, when you assemble it, that you assemble it right. Anyway, I think that should be it. Also, why cleft happens, is that the fault of the mom? Not necessarily, because there's so many factors that that contribute with clefting. And number one biggest factor is genetics. The genetic is very, very, very number one factor of clefting. Just like my daughter, she had cleft lip, and her dad had a cleft lip as well when he was born. And with my husband, he didn't have cleft palate, but he had a cleft lip. It was just a different scenario with my daughter and him, but they both have cleft. So with that, there's already 50% chances that when I have a baby, that my baby had a cleft. And also, it depends, just like when we visited the geneticists, because here in America, they will study all the factors involves about the clefting. So we went to the genetic testing, and the geneticist gonna trace down the traits and everything. It turns out John grandpa had an ear pit right in his ear, and actually the ear pit is an indication that there's clefting in your genetics. But John's great-grandpa, John's grandpa didn't have the cleft, but my husband had the cleft. Also, he had the ear pit right in his ear. And when our child was born, she also had an ear pit, and she had cleft lip and cleft palate. So genetics is very, very genetics affects as well, because like I said, if there's clefting along the generation of your genetics, and later on, if you're that lucky one, then you'll have the clefting in you. And also in some of my researches say if the mom is doing smoking and drinking hard liquor during pregnancy, that also can be a factor, can be a factor. And so there is no there is what I'm basically saying is there is a lot of factors that contribute with clefting. And when I ask my doctor, is my sexual activity with my husband affects it? Just clear that up, doctor, because I am scared. And my doctor said no. So we debunked that myth. No, sexual activity with your partner doesn't do any clefting for your child. It's no. Also, because it makes me sad that when I knew some people, especially in my country, in the Philippines, there's that stigma about when your child had a cleft, you did something wrong. You did this, you did that, you did. No. It's the genetics, and you're the lucky one to have it. And your scar would be the proof that you're strong, you're courageous. Your scar is your unique identity for who you are. And for those mama out there, parents out there, I am so proud of you. You guys are doing a great job. We're gonna figure this out together. And please, don't hesitate to reach out with me. I will leave my email so that you can see the email. If you want to talk to me, please contact me in my email, and you can also reach me out in my Facebook page. And also, that's about it. And also, I wanted to clarify things that what may work for my child may not be working for you, but it's okay. Every child, every babies are different, and every parents had their own unique style how to feed and adapt the situation. So with us, my baby thrive with Dr. Brown's specialty bottle. She's been using it since she would come home with us until she's done using it, because when she turned 1, we stopped feeding her with this because she's getting ready for her palate surgery. So that's all I can say, that don't pressure yourself. Just discover how, because like I mentioned, every parent, every mom, every kid is different. Yes, we may be the same with cleft palate issue, but there are unique things differently. And also, if you knew that your baby had a cleft ahead of time, maybe start researching where can you get bottle, or reach out with your local health center. Like in the Philippines, we have rural can I just say RHU? Sorry, my tongue is not working right now today. I'm still sleepy. So in the RHU in the Philippines, you can reach out to them and say, hey, this is the situation of my child. She had a cleft, or he had a cleft. Or if here in America, there's a lot of resources, and please don't be afraid to reach out. Don't be afraid to talk, because there's a lot of people nowadays that would wants to help and would love to help, that had a big heart for people, for parents, families that had cleft. I hope that my video offers help. I hope that this video that I made is helpful to you, and in this channel we'll talk more about like social life of my kiddo once they go to school, because I deal with that too, and I can relate to that because my daughter, there's also time that she said, Mom, I got cleft, Mom, I got scar, Mom, I got this. My classmate talks about this. So in the next video we're gonna talk about that particular topic about the social life of your kid, because the surgeries is important, but the social life is also as important. It's very important for us to educate and teach our kid the proper tools, because kids, people would stare at you like, oh, you got a scar. My experience, when I bring my kiddo to Philippines, some people are staring at my child because of the cleft, and then they point out to me like, hey, your kiddo had a cleft. And I said, yes, she had a cleft. Yes, she had that. Yes, she had that. And that's how my kid is, and I love my kid being that way. And that's very normal, people would ask, and it cannot be avoided that some kids would say something about their scar. But that's why I would talk that for the next video that we will upload. I hope I can get things done quickly, especially with busy life being a mom. Also, I like to extend my thanks to all nurses and doctors in the neonatal unit in the Sacred Heart Hospital. You guys are amazing. You guys are the best. Thank you for loving and taking care of all those little angels, and you guys help us so much, and thank you.